Russian sayings of the church fathers, and there was a monk who had befriended an old peasant, and they both walked together often and worked together. And one day the peasant, who was an illiterate person, he just had a simple faith, and the peasant came to the monk and said, "You know, I know a bit about the Lord as well." And the monk said, "Do you?" He said, "I do." He said, "For every morning, every evening, I take a bowl and I put some goat's milk in it, and I put it out by this tree. And the Lord comes and he drinks his fill, for by morning the milk is gone." And this monk, perceiving what was happening, said, "My brother, I do not believe the Lord has need of the milk." But the peasant said, "But he does, and he takes it from me. It's such a blessing." And the monk said, "I tell you what, let us do it again and I shall show you." And so that very evening, as before, the peasant took the bowl and filled it with the goat's milk and put it under a tree, and as darkness fell, they both fell back into some bushes and watched. And sure enough, as the darkness fell, a fox came out from the brush, went to the bowl, and lapped up all the milk and left. At this, the peasant said, "I didn't realize now that it was the fox all along. Oh, but woe is me." He started to cry, and the monk said, "Why are you crying?" He says, "Because I thought it was the Lord. I thought that he would accept my meager offering, and it's just a fox." And he began to weep heavily, and the monk tried to console him, but the peasant wouldn't be consoled. He went weeping to his house that night. And so the monk, perceiving what had happened, walked to his own cell. And along the road, just as he was coming to the doors of the monastery, there appeared an angel of God in his way, so that he could not pass. And the monk fell down upon the ground where his face was, and he said, so have mercy upon me." And the angel said, "Oh, to you, monk, you learned man, let me tell you something." It says, "For all of your learning, you could not perceive that this poor peasant, without his book learning, without his literacy, he had a simple faith in God. And yet you, as learned as you are, did not perceive this of him, and destroyed what little faith he had. Now, monk, let me tell you something." It says, "It was the Lord himself who would send that fox every night to lap up that milk for the edification of that poor peasant's soul. So go and meditate upon this, if you will." And so the monk meditated long and hard about the damage he'd done. We must be careful to be good to people. We must be careful of the words that we let slip from our mouths. Because even in our learnedness, you can hurt a child of God.